Hello, welcome to your vacation quickie. I am Jasmine and we are doing massage balls. You can either have a pair of lacrosse balls, tennis balls, even golf balls. I do use yoga tune-up. They come in this wonderful bag. So you could have a pair of lacrosse and a pair of yoga tune-up. I'm just going to use the lacrosse balls tonight. They do travel in my suitcase, in my car. They really go everywhere I go. But since this is only 15 minutes, I'm gonna jump right into it and I'm going to start with my foot, okay? So I want you to step into the ball. Be very careful if you have the more aggressive lacrosse ball. It is more dense, it is not forgiving. You will have instantaneous feedback and I want you to just step right into the ball of your foot, right? I always say there's two types of personalities here, two different types of personalities. You have your stepper and your breather and like your fidgeter. And you can be whoever you need to be. However, I want you to try to breathe into the foot if you're resisting and clenching and holding all sorts of chaos and drama and trauma into trying to get some myofascial release and some trigger point therapy in. It's not benefiting you as much as you are breathing through it, right? So now I'm in the upper arch, probably close to the ball of that foot, and I'm trying to hit the inner arch, the center arch, and even the outer arch. So I'm gonna roll now a little bit more towards like the middle of the foot. Still the arch, but more like the middle of the arch. So if you have a flat foot, you might experience some pain. If you have a really high arch like myself, you might experience some foot pain. But all I want you to do is just navigate and take in the feedback that you're getting from that foot. You should always consult your doctor, right? But for example, if you are in your third trimester and you're pregnant due to reflexology, you don't want to, well, maybe you do want to move things right along, right, in regards to birth. But just be careful. If you have injuries, scar tissue, prenatal, postnatal, just be super careful. All right, I'm in the heel pocket of the foot now, so we're spending about 2 minutes on this foot. Since this is a shorter video, we're only getting to some parts of the body. I'll probably have a part 2, but today I'm starting with the feet. All right, that was 2 minutes. Let's go to the other foot. So I'm gonna again start with the ball. So let's talk about injuries. If I were to have, which I do, like a hip torn labrum in my left hip and I overcompensate my body weight perhaps into my right hip, my right knee, my right foot. My right foot might be a little more sensitive than my left foot. So be mindful if you are overcompensating in one side of the body or the other. Now I'm rolling through like the middle, again, middle arch. Try to breathe into it. You're always wanting to use your breath work with, since I'm primarily a Pilates girl and strength and recovery girl, I always talk about connecting to your breath in order to breathe through things and or to execute the movement when you're like pushing heavy, right? So I want to now kind of just roll around that center arch of the foot. We're about a minute into this opposite foot, so we have another minute. So I'm going into the heel pocket. The heel pocket is now right where the arch of the foot hits the heel. And again, just be careful, be mindful about if you have plantar fasciitis, or if you have heel spurs, the fascia through the middle of the foot gets very upset. So if you do have plantar fasciitis, I want you to think about just smoothing out the fascia through the middle of that foot. It might not feel the best, right? But the fascia is mad for a reason, right? So I want you to think about, again, stepping and breathing and or just kind of like rolling your feet up and down. If you sit at a desk and you have your shoes off, you can kind of just roll your feet like so. I went back to my right foot for just a second to roll around the fascia of the right foot. So you can go talk to your doctor, you can, check your Google and look into like my plantar fasciitis and heel spurs and all of these different ailments that happen through your foot and your feet. All right, that was 2 minutes. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to put my balls in a bag. If you don't have a bag, you could use like a sock. As long as it's long enough, you could tie it in a knot. Or, pantyhose. Do people still have those? A long stocking. As long as you can tie the thing in a knot, you're good. All right, I'm gonna put this both in a bag and then I'm going to start with the base of my skull. I'm going to move a little quicker now. I did do 2 minutes on each feet because the feet hold us up. The feet help us get around, so I spend a little bit more time on the feet. All right, so I'm going to turn this way, and I'm going to roll down slow. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, roll down, and put the, well, see how mine's in the bag? Right in the middle of the balls, that's where I want my cervical spine to place, right? So the balls are on each side of my spine. I'm also at the base of my skull. And all I want you to do is just breathe into the base of your skull. So again, if you have major neck issues or herniated discs, bulging discs, anything that would prevent you from just laying on a pair of these balls, maybe be mindful and be safe and be careful. But I'm literally just putting some body pressure downwards into the balls. And now I'm gonna go an inch lower just to feel like that atlas and the axis where my neck meets my head, right? So I'm going to lean a little bit to the right because I'm back at the base of my skull, the edge of my cranium, and I'm gonna lean a little bit to the left. So you're simply just massaging the base of the skull a little bit. All right, now going into more of like you have 7 vertebrae, and you should at least have 7 vertebrae in your cervical spine. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, and C7. So you're just going to slowly navigate down the base of that, of your neck a little bit. All I'm doing is going like up an inch and down an inch, and just take a minute to pause and breathe. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. If you have more time, I would love you to literally inchworm your way down your thoracic, which is your mid-back. You have 12 vertebrae, and then your upper to mid-back, and then your lower back, that's your lumbar. You have 5 vertebrae. Again, you should have 5 vertebrae in your lumbar spine, L1 through L5. So I want you to go from the cervical through the thoracic, all 12 vertebrae of the thoracic, T1 through T12, into your L1 through your L5, right? And then if you have that time, again, because you have more than 15 minutes today to do this, then I want you to try to also go in towards the sacrum, which is more at the base of your hips. Okay, so now I'm in my thoracic spine. You can't see me too well, but if I were to turn it at a diagonal, I am right here. I'm almost where my scapula and my little chicken wings start. I'm gonna bring my hands behind my head. And again, I just have those balls situated right at, in between, my spine sits in between the balls. Now, if I get a little bit lower, I'm going to round my spine, right? And put a little bit of body weight into my spine. I didn't even get to the traps. Maybe we won't even do the traps. Maybe I'll do the traps and the sacrum in another video, because those are the 2 major stress points that people hold their stress. Right now, I'm just rolling myself slowly down my thoracic spine. I want you to take a little chest curl, so you're putting some body weight back and then down into the balls. Again, I'll turn sideways so you can kind of see where I am. Hopefully you're not cranking your neck to the left or to the right watching this video, but I'm slowly just rolling the balls like almost a rolling pin, as if you were baking, down my spine, right? And I'm just breathing. I'm finding some vertebrae that are super sticky and resistant and not as happy. And then the ones that are a little more mobile and happy, I will just quickly roll over those and not spend as much time there. Do try to avoid your organs, right, on the outer side here. Focus on muscle. I'm gonna keep going, but now that I'm in more of my lumbar spine, I'm gonna softly bring my head and my shoulders back down. Ooh, just got a pop, that's a bonus. All right, so now that I'm in like my my L1, my lumbar 1, that's the beginning of the start of my lower back. I'm just gonna breathe for a second, and I'm going to pick up my hips, and I'm gonna put a little bit more body weight into that. So remember, the balls are on each side of my spine, in muscle, not bone. Right in between the balls, that's where my spine is softly allowing itself to place, right? So
I have some feedback in my lumbar, and I'm not surprised because that is where I absolutely carry my everything. And I'm gonna slowly roll down. Again, just inch by inch, roll up an inch, roll down an inch, and you're just trying to like lift the tailbone up a little bit, and then roll up an inch, roll down an inch, and you're just, literally like inchworming your way. You can find one spot and kind of just shimmy your hips from right to left. All you're doing is just navigating your spine today, right? We started with the feet, then we started at the base of the skull. We went down the cervical, slowly down the thoracic a little bit, into now the lumbar, but now I'm at my L5, that's the final lumbar vertebra, and then I'm hitting my S1, right, my sacrum. So now I'm getting into my hips like a little bit, but again, I'm not as wide as my piriformis muscle or my sacroiliac joint or different parts of ligaments, but I am definitely in that S1, S2 when dealing with all these different clients over the thousands of hours and 18 years of doing this. The biggest herniation and or bulge that I've come across personally is L5, your lumbar 5, your lower back, and your S1. That would be from anything, from bending over and picking up something too heavy and not bending your knees and lifting with your legs, from a car accident, from just degenerative discs, right? So, but always when people come in and they're like, oh, I have a bulging disc or herniated disc, I'm like, they're like, where? And I'm like, they say their lower back. And I'm like, you're, L4, L5, S1. And then they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's the most popular that I have come across. Maybe, if your surgeon or your chiropractor, they've experienced different clients. But for Pilates, right? And we get a lot of rehab and PT work. So I hope you're also inching your way down your balls as well. So now I'm getting down in my sacrum. I'm getting closer to my tailbone or my coccyx, right? The tailbone. It goes right between your butt cheeks. So I'm slowly navigating there. This is more of your root chakra. This is where we could hold some emotion. So you can kind of open and close your knees a little bit. You have a lot of nerve endings down there. So be just careful, right? I do have a lot of body weight. I can bring my knees in tabletop, but if I tuck my tail under a little bit, that might put more body weight into the balls than I want. But granted, I am on the lacrosse balls, which are way more violent, way more aggressive than the pinky balls or the yoga tune-up balls, okay? Tennis balls are soft and forgiving. Those are like hugs and kisses. Then, if you're using lacrosse balls, baseballs, golf balls, those are definitely more aggressive. I know there's a lot of companies that say those are just too violent and too aggressive. But to each their own, right? We all have a different pain tolerance and we can all handle different things. Some of us like, shiatsu massage, some of us need rolfing, some of us need deep tissue. We all need different things to release, and that's okay. So that's why I don't put you all in like a shoebox and assume you all need the same things. I talk to you as the masses, as an individual, right? So it's like some of you need this and some of you need that. I'm not gonna cookie cut this, right? So now I'm on the outsides of my tailbone. And again, there's a lot going on one side versus the other. I'm definitely feeling some bone movement, and that's okay. Like I'm just moving some things around, and that's all right. So we've been, working our way down our spine for a little while now. It is almost 15 minutes. I know that goes by super fast, but I am going to save the next major trigger point areas where people hold most of their stress in their traps and in their SI joint, in their piriformis muscle, their sacrum, their lower back, for a whole nother video, because I need 15 minutes for that, okay? But we kept our ball in the bag the whole time. I'm gonna do one more little thing since the ball is in the bag. I'm going to put my sit bone on top of the balls in the bag, and I'm going to be very careful. I'm using this leg to lift up a little bit, and I'm just rolling around my gluteal fold. That's where the hamstring meets the butt cheek, right? That gluteal fold. But again, lots of nerve endings in there, be careful. Even, if you're very flexible and you can do the splits and you're not warmed up, you can easily pull something in there. So I'm definitely using my arms. I'm using the opposite leg to kind of lift up because I don't want too much body weight to shock me, because I do have like
a little bit of scar tissue in both of those areas. So last but not least, I'm going to turn again right where the butt cheek meets the hamstring, the gluteal fold. I want you to put some body weight into that, and I want you to kind of, don't mind me. I have all sorts of things going on, from gymnastics and ballet and athletics and life. So if I have to pause for a second, is because I'm getting my own feedback as I'm doing this with you, all right? I'm not quite rolling down the hamstring. I'm absolutely just staying around that gluteal fold area. And I'm just trying to breathe and roll into right where the butt cheek meets the hamstring. So last but not least, we're going to wrap this 15-minute up with just this right here. I could use these whole balls for a whole hour, but I'm trying to give you just short little abbreviated segments, so you don't have to spend an hour doing this. That only 15 minutes you'll actually commit to that. So if you want to, again, last but not least, put it like on your tailbone, sitting upright, and kind of move through that tailbone a little bit, you can, but I would lift your body weight up so you're not overly collapsing into those balls. And all you're doing is just feeling around, but be careful, be careful with all the different little bones in your tailbone, your coccyx, just be careful. But yeah, so that's just a short and sweet. The next video will absolutely be for traps, where half the population carries their stress, and the other half of the population in that SI joint, lower back, and glutes. We'll get into that one next, okay?